All right, in this video, we're going to talk about KPIs, that is key performance indicators, and what they mean in your business, how to keep track, and how to use those to the most effective means. So let's get right into it. KPIs, key performance indicators. What are we going to use those for?
Well, I like KPIs because they let you know if you're on track. How often do you set a goal and at the end of the month you're like, I didn't meet that goal? There's nothing you can do at the end of the month to change that goal. But if you're doing some things along the way and you're measuring those, it's going to tell you whether you get to that goal or not. So since I brought that up, Rob, you want to talk a little bit about lead and lag measures and what that is?
Sure, I'll be glad to. So we have KPIs, and some of them are lead measures and some of them are lag measures. But the difference is, in a lead measure, we're trying to determine if we do this other thing will result from doing this. So if we measure the lead measures and we just make sure that we're doing enough of the lead measures, then those lag measures will follow without us even paying attention.
The lag measure really just tells you about what happened in the past. It's the lead measure is telling you in the future. And I always like to, because sometimes when I first heard this concept, I'm like, oh, is that a lag or a lead? So for me, I like to think about, it's really easy. Somebody explained this to me. If you set the goal for weight loss, the pounds you lose is a lag measure. If I wait till the end of the week and I step on the scale to see, did I lose that weight? And that pounds is my only measurement. There's nothing I can do to fix that if I hadn't lost that weight.
Yeah, and it's a little confusing because your lag measure is really not something that happened in the past so much as it's something that's going to happen in the future if you do these lead measures now.
Yeah, so some lead measures that might help with that lag measure of losing weight might be exercise. Did I exercise?
Oh, that's no fun.
Did I eat healthy?
Oh, definitely no fun.
And maybe did I get good sleep?
That's it, I'm out of here.
If you take care of those things, then that end of the week is you're not gonna be disappointed. So
wait a minute. If I understand this correctly, you're saying if I eat 2 hamburgers for dinner, extra helping of fries, and chocolate cake followed by ice cream, not only will I be sick, but I might get fat in the future?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I think I have a handle on that now.
Exactly. So that lets you think a little bit about what's a lead measure, what's a lag measure. Now, how does this translate to your home inspections? Let's say that your goal is to raise your revenue. Some lead measures that you can do rather than getting to the end of the month to see, did I make more money this month or did I not make more money, is what is my close call rate? Like, am I closing 75% of the calls I get, or am I closing 90% of the calls that I get? What are some other lead measures?
How many calls am I getting?
How many calls am I getting? What is my ancillary services upsell rate? You know, am I upselling ancillary services on my inspections 10% of the time or 40% of the time? Those are some things that you could look at if you're trying to raise your revenue.
And let's say even before we get the phone to ring and we're scheduling the inspection, let's talk about how that pertains to our growth team. What kind of lead measures would we want to track with our growth team to make sure the phone is going to ring?
Right. So we want our end result with our growth team is we want activations. We want new agents. We want people trying our company. So what are we measuring? We're measuring how many calls did they make? How many meetings did they go on? How many events or presentations did they do? All of those things are going to translate into agents. And man, you'll see if somebody goes on vacation or they fall behind in their phone calls, they don't get the activation. So it's right there. It's really easy. Like, you do this ahead of time and you're going to get the result.
Okay, so we know the kinds of things that we could measure, but there are literally thousands of things that we could measure. What are we going to do?
Yeah, you can't measure it all. So you've got to pick. For our company, we set 3 goals for the year. And with those 3 goals, we said, what are the things that we could look at that are going to tell us if we're going to meet our goal. Rather than waiting till the end of the year, what can we do to make sure that we meet this goal? And so you have to figure out, what do you want to happen in your company, and then track those numbers that are going to support that outcome. Because there are hundreds of numbers, and Rob loves to track numbers. And
I'm a spreadsheet fanatic.
He is. And sometimes I'm like, but what are we going to do with that? Like,
well, we'll know.
We'll know. Yeah, we'll know. It's just a number. But, and sometimes we're tracking numbers. Like right now, we're tracking our one and done agents, the agents that use us one time and then they don't use us again. And then we're also tracking the average number of inspections that we get per agent. Now, these are two new numbers, and we're not even sure if they're great numbers to track because as my growth team is doing a great job of bringing in new agents, it's bringing down that average number of inspections per agent because those people are new. But it also tells me about the quality of the agents we're bringing in. If those new agents are top agents, then they're going to do 10, 20, 30 transactions in a year, which is going to raise that number. If they're basic agents, that number is going to keep going down. So I believe that that number is going to have a story to tell me, but it's kind of new in our tracking. So we're going to track it for a while, and then I'm going to decide, did this tell me anything? Was this indicative of success in the future, or am I wasting my time with this number?
Well, I know one of the numbers that we always track is how many new agents do we get each and every month. And that gives us a clue as to how successful the marketing reps are. If the more new agents we get, the more we can afford to lose out of the back end and still not lose business.
Very true. We call it in the boat. We like to say, like, how many agents did you bring into the boat? Because you know that people are always going to fall out of the boat. You have to make sure that you're bringing more agents into the boat if growth is your goal. Rob loves to track average fee on inspection.
That's one of my favorites.
That's one of his favorites because
because that tells us not just are we scheduling the inspection at a high price, but are we selling our ancillary services the way that I want them to be sold, or are we just taking orders and not selling ancillary services at all? Because at the end of the day, you could do fewer inspections and make even more money if you had an average ticket price that was higher.
So while his goal is the average ticket price, there are some KPIs that he tracks because before he gets to that average ticket price, and he's annoyed if it's not high enough, there's some indicators that it's going to get there. And that's what's our percentage of upsells by our client care coordinators, and what's our percentage of upsells by our home inspectors. Those are indicative of if he's going to be happy with that end number on that average inspection. So if you're interested in learning more about lead and lag measures, I suggest you take out the book 4DX, which is the 4 disciplines of execution. They go really deep in this, and it'll give you some great ideas.
Now, we often recommend reading books or listening to books in the car as you're driving around. This is not one of those. This is definitely you need to sit down, read it twice, and think about it, and take notes, and use the highlight pen. It's not a book that you can just listen to while you're driving down the road.
Yeah, a lot of numbers.
But it's
and charts.
It's an effective book in learning how to track your success, and if you're not having success, why you're not.
Right. So I challenge you, what numbers should you be tracking in your business? And if they're all lag measures, are there some lead measures that you should be looking at to make those lag measures not so shocking in the end of the month?